The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's role play session with your hosts, James McDonald and Craig Proctor.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea. I'd like to start, as always, by welcoming our participants to our role play session, our favorite session of the week. We're going to do some role playing today, and we'll take as many volunteers who want to practice the universal callback script with us, and we'll get really good at this. Before we do, though, I did have a couple of questions that were posed, and we'll have plenty more here on the webinar, I'm sure. But one of our newer students, and I won't name anybody, but one of our newer students was having a real challenge with prospects getting them off the phone, sort of bum rushing them off the phone as if they were a pesky telemarketer. And I have to tell you that if you are perceived as a telemarketer, we will get rid of a telemarketer by any means possible. So this is why it is so critical that when we do the introduction, we do it really clearly and slowly and all in one breath. We have to, the prospect understands, more critically than anything else in the introduction, what they have to understand is that they requested information from us. And if that point is not put across, then what they're left thinking is you are calling them to bother them, or you are calling them because you want something from them. See, this is the biggest difference between these calls and cold calls. When you're cold calling someone, the reason you're cold calling is because you want something from them. The premise of our call in this circumstance is that they wanted something from us. It's the complete opposite. The reason I'm calling you is because you were on my website last night and you requested a free over-the-net home evaluation, and I provided you with an area home sales report. I hope that's okay, Mrs. Smith. You requested information from me, and I'm such a nice guy that not only did I provide that information for you, but I'm calling you as a courtesy to let you know I've sent it. I hope that's okay. If you do it like that, in other words, if you're clear and concise about the fact that they requested this very specific information from you and you've provided it, is that okay? You will be greeted with appreciation. Maybe not over the top appreciation, but you'll be greeted with appreciation because now you're not considered a telemarketer. You're considered the provider of information. And I can't tell you how, well, for those of you that have mastered that introduction, you know how critical that part of the script is. I can only tell you that this is very simple. Hello?
James?
Am I here, Andrea? Yeah, what
You're
was
here.
that?
I believe that was Craig's line.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, James. That was me.
Hey, there you are.
Guilty as charged.
Yes, well, you'll be reprimanded afterwards. How are you, Craig?
I'm very good. I'm having a little phone problems here. They're connecting fiber optic to my home office here. In doing so, they felt compelled to cut the phone line.
Yes.
Yes, so bear with me.
No problem. We can hear you loud and clear. Okay, so I wanted to begin by addressing that member's question or their concern or their challenge that they're having right now in the introduction. But there is no other answer. I assure you, when you are clear and concise with your introduction and you make sure that they understand they requested information from you and you're very clear about what that information was, when it was, and where it was, you will be greeted with much more appreciation and you will not be hung up on as you are from time to time now. Okay, so having said that, Andrea and Craig, we're here to do role playing and we're here to answer all of your follow-up related questions. So anything as it relates to the follow-up process, this is the forum, so let's hear from you.
Okay, and just so everyone knows, we have a few chat requests to role play, no questions yet, and no one has raised their hand, so go ahead and do so now. You can type in the chat box, I would like to role play, or your question or comment, or click the hand icon in your control panel if you have a working mic or you're on the telephone. We have, let's see, Evangeline Lynn, I'm going to pull up your line. Your telephone is open, Evangeline.
Oh, hi. Hello?
Hi, Eve. Hi, Eve. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Sorry, I was okay. Anyway, good morning. I want to do a buyers. I've been getting a lot of buyers leads lately on Zillow and Trulia, so I thought I should practice on that.
Okay, and primarily these buyers are, what are they responding to, properties?
Properties, yes. So the challenge that I've been facing is to convert from showing one house to getting them to coming to the office to do the buyer's appointment.
Right.
Right, because
okay.
we all know what happens when you go and you show them one house. They don't buy it. And
Right.
you've demonstrated that okay, this is acceptable. So all they see you is as an agent that they can call if they wish, but they don't have to.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a bad precedent because once you throw that out there, you can't take it back.
Right.
It's like after you show them one house, and we know they're probably not going to like it, right? 95% of the time, no, that's not the right house. Where do you go from there?
Yep.
You know, you can't back the bus up. So you're right. We want to get together with them. So what do you think you're having problems with?
Well, mostly just to give them the offer and then get them to come into the office first before
Okay, so
showing
let's
them
just
the
work on your offer then. You're not going to
Okay.
make this. You're not going to make this offer to every buyer. Like, so if I said that I had an agent and it was my best friend and I wasn't open to anybody, you wouldn't try
Right,
to even make the offer. If I
yeah,
said
wouldn't
I
close the house.
I wasn't going to buy a house for 5 years, you wouldn't make the offer. So let's assume in this example that we're going to do, Eve, that I've answered the probing questions to your liking. Okay, and I'm a buyer that you'd really, like to work with. So let's hear the offer. We'll focus right in on that part of it.
Okay. So, Craig, would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all real estate companies? Our list includes any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, or distressed sales, and pocket listings and properties that have yet to come on the market. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that interest you?
Yeah, I mean, I want to get all the properties, so I've told you what I'm looking for, so could you just send those to me?
Well, why don't we do this? I have a better idea, Craig. Before I show you the property on Sunday, why don't we get together for about 20 minutes in my office so I can take down exactly what you're looking for? Would Saturday or Sunday be better for you?
So are you saying that you won't show me the house?
No, I actually will show you the house, but I thought that if you are interested in getting daily email updates of properties that only match your home buying criteria, it's worth the 20 minutes that we sit down to get together so that I can take down exactly what you're looking for. I have a form that I fill out, so that way I will be able to only send you the properties that match your criteria, and you won't be missing out any, properties that fit your needs.
Okay, now forgive me, Eve. I'm going to be a little bit tough on you here.
Yeah.
So here's what a buyer might say. Well, when we get together, when you take me to show me the house, we'll be together then, and then I can tell you, you can bring your form, and I'll tell you what you're looking for, what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Then I'm stuck.
Okay, so let's stop. Can I help you with this?
Of course.
Okay. Here's what I would say. I would say, Eve, you want to have a look at the house on Maple Street. Now, when we take you out to show you Maple Street, why don't we show you all the other homes in the area that would also be a good match? Does that sound like a good idea?
Yes.
Okay.
But
so
if you play devil's advocate, even if you played devil's advocate and said, well, you know what, I really just want to see this one.
Okay. Well, look, if they were really adamant, sometimes I would have a buyer and they would say this, James. They'd say, look, I've lived on Maple Avenue for 25 years. And my wife and I always have said, if the house at number 7 Maple Street ever came up for sale, we're interested. It's the only house we're interested in. If I'm going to wimp out and show somebody a house without a buyer contract, that's going to be the guy.
I see.
Right.
Okay, but that's not usually the case, right?
Right.
So when you say to most buyers, well, look, you want to look at this one listing on Maple Street, would you also at the same time like to look at the other properties that might match your criteria in that area? Most buyers would say yes. To which you say, you know, and if they balk at that, I would say, well, Eve, I assume that you'd like to look at more than one property before you make a purchase decision. Right? I'm reminding them, like, you probably want to look at more than one. So when we take you out to show you the home on Maple Street, why don't we show you all the homes in the area that match your criteria, which leads right into, so let's get together, take down exactly what you're looking for so I can do that.
Okay.
So I can assemble a list of all the properties in the area. That's the only thing that's different about a sign call. You see, the sign call is a little bit better than an ad call, because at least with a sign call, they're in front of the property or they've driven by the property. So with a sign call, we can't really say, well, they don't know the area. With an ad call, you know, we've had ad calls before where you meet them at the property and
they don't even want to go inside.
No, I don't even like this area.
Right.
Because they called off of an ad. But with a sign call, it's a little bit better because they've driven by it. But even still, with a sign call, if I look at all the times earlier in my career that I wimped out and I ran out and I showed the property, very, very small percentage of the time did they actually buy that property. And once I did that, once I go out and I show them the property, then it just sets me up for failure, because how do I change the rules? How do I say, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. Now you have to come in and you have to sign a buyer agency agreement before I show you homes. They're simply going to say, but you just did. You just showed me the house on Maple Street. I didn't have a buyer agency agreement. Right.
Craig, demonstrate the dialogue that we'd use in a circumstance where somebody was insistent on seeing that one single property and weren't open to coming in and meeting with you. How do we use the seller's request to ensure that the buyer comes in and meets with us beforehand?
So one thing that I've recommended that you folks should do with your listing.
This works really well, by the way, for everybody. Our members that use that dialogue, in the unlikely event that the offer isn't good enough, this works really, really well. So I'm sorry, Craig.
Can I go now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what James is referring to is a great thing to be able to say to the seller that just wants to see Maple Street. It's the only home I want to see. I'm not interested in any of the other properties in the area. I'm not interested in your list of distress sales. My wife and I only want to look at number 7 Maple Street. Is to be able to say, well, look at the arrangement I have with the seller, with my seller, is that we need to meet with prospective buyers before we show the property, to make sure that you have all the information on the property and to make sure you're a qualified buyer. And that is an agreement that I do have with all my sellers. Right? That becomes part of the listing presentation. James, if you were the seller, I would say in my listing presentation, now James, when it comes to showings, there's a couple different ways we can do it. Now the way most agents do it is they'll bring like anybody and everybody through your home. And many of those buyers, as you can imagine, will be not qualified at all. It may not be the right house for them. They didn't have the information on your property, and there's no sense you running around cleaning your home for people that are never going to buy it. Or maybe they're just financially not qualified. So with your permission, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I would like to mandate to the buyers that inquire about your property that they must meet with me first, so I can get them financially qualified and give them all the information on your property, just so we're not dragging anybody and everybody through your home. So would you like me to go forward with that mandate? So now I've got the seller's permission to basically say to the buyer,
you've made it their idea.
Yeah, I need to. The seller's request is that I meet with all buyers, including you, and give you all the information on the buyer. Make sure you're a qualified buyer before we bring you through the property. Now, if the buyer fights you on this, what I would say is, well, Eve, I'm sure if I was representing you, you would want me to respect your wishes.
Right.
right? In other words, I work for the seller. I don't work for you, not yet anyway. And my client, the seller, has requested that we meet with all buyers. This gives you an opportunity to get together with the buyer, get the buyer signed to a buyer agency agreement. We have to understand, without that buyer agency agreement signed, we're doing something on the buyer side that none of us would ever consider doing on the seller side. None of us would put this much time or effort or spend money with a seller without a listing contract signed. So this is just common sense. So I know you all believe this, so I'm preaching to the choir. We just need to fine tune like how to do it. So that's what you're saying, Eve, is you're saying, hey, you're preaching to the choir, Craig. I get it. I understand it. I want to do it. I just need to be really, really skilled with the words that come out of my mouth to compel these buyers to want to meet with me. We can't make them meet. We can only compel them. Are there any other objections that you're getting in regards to sign calls or ad calls when they're calling off like a specific property?
I think that was the biggest one, that just, show me this property I'm only interested in, and then I will decide to meet with you afterwards or something.
So let's flip this around and try it. Let's try it one more time. So you asked me, you do your introduction, Craig, you called off the house on Maple Street, blah, blah, blah. You asked me all the qualifying questions, and you realize, holy cow, Craig's not working with an agent. He lives locally. He owns a house, but he wants to buy first. He's a guy that I would like to meet with. Now make me your offer, and I'm going to try to fight you, and you're going to use what we just talked about.
Okay, sounds good. So Craig, would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all real estate companies?
Well, let's not go there yet. Remember, I want to look at Maple Street.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Eve, I want to look at this place at number 7 Maple that you've got listed.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great. Yes, I can definitely show you that. And Craig, why don't we show you all the other homes that fit your criteria in that area while you're out there? I think that's a better use of your time.
Okay, almost perfect. Let's say this. So Craig, when I take you out to show you the home at 7 Maple Street, why don't I show you all the other homes in the area that also match your criteria? What do you think let's stop there for a second. What do you think most buyers would say about that idea?
Yes, sign me up for that.
Right, most buyers would say, well, I guess that makes sense. If I'm going to meet with Eve to look at one house,
well, I'll tell you what,
we'll look at all the other homes.
If they are a serious buyer, they certainly would say yes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Think of the person that would say no to that. You would have to agree that might speak to their lack of motivation, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, well, we're going to go through it different. We're going to do this twice. We're doing it, first of all, with I want to look at Maple Street, and then we'll do it over again with the guy that only wants to look at Maple Street. So yeah, I want to look at Maple Street, and you say, repeat it again?
Craig, why don't we show you all the other homes in the area that also fit your criteria? I assume you'd like to see more than one house while you're out here looking at houses, right?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Oh, great. So, Craig, let's get together so I can do that.
Do that. What's that? You said let's get together so we can do that. Now I want you to embellish the offer.
Right. So let's get together so that I can take down exactly what you're looking for. And I have a form that I fill out so that way when we that I can take down exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, so you could say this. You could say, look, when we get together, I'm going to take down exactly what you're looking for. Forget the form. I'll take down exactly what you're looking for. Okay, and that way I can get you access to all the homes that match your criteria, including any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties or distress sales. It's an absolute free service, and you're never obligated to do anything. When do you think would be a good time for us to get together? This evening or tomorrow morning?
That's awesome.
Okay, now I'm going to be the guy that only wants to look at Maple Street. So your offer is not going to work. So let's see what happens now. My wife and I, 25 years on Maple Street, we always said, if this house comes up for sale at number 7, oh my God, we love the place. It's the only home we really love. Would you show it to us?
Yes. Are you interested? Why don't we?
I bet you haven't, Eve. You haven't changed anything.
Okay. Why don't we show you all the other homes in the area that also?
No, that's not going to work. Remember, because I just told you I only want to look at that property. That's the only one I'm interested in. I don't care about your list of distressed sales, your bank foreclosures. I don't care about the great deal that's 2 streets over. Now,
we probably want to find out if they have a realtor.
Well, no, she's asked all those questions. She's done all that.
Okay.
So I would just say, okay, well, I'll show you this property.
No, because the sellers won't like that. The sellers will be upset with you because you told them, you told the sellers that you would meet with the buyers before kicking them out in the snow.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so Craig, before I can show you the property on Maple Street, I would have to meet with you, being that this is per seller's request. That
we'll start off with that. The sellers have requested. Make it throw the seller under the bus.
Okay, gotcha.
Not your request. It's the seller's request.
Gotcha. So Craig, because the seller asked me to make sure every buyer that I show the property to are well qualified, so I would have to meet with you first in my office before I can show you the property. Would days or evenings be better for you?
Okay, not bad. Instead of the seller asks, I want you to use the seller has requested that I meet with all potential buyers before I bring them through the property. I wouldn't use the word qualified, even though that's why we're doing it. The seller wants to make sure that you have all the information on the property before we bring you through.
Okay.
Okay, so let's try that again from the top. Yeah, it's only this one I want to see.
Okay. Well, Craig, the seller has requested that all buyers have all the information required or needed before they come through the house. So when would be a good time for us to get together for about 20 minutes so that I can go over with you the information on the property before I show it to you?
Okay, now I'm going to fight you, and I'm going to say, so what you're telling me, Eve, is you're not going to show me this house at 7 Maple Street unless I come into the office?
Craig, that's actually not what I'm saying. That's this is what the seller's requesting. I'm sure if I was representing you, you would want me to do the same to make sure that all the buyers have all the right information on your property before.
Well, you could just say, I'm sure if I was representing you, you'd want me to respect your wishes. That does it right there, right? Because now he'd be the bad guy for trying to make you do something that your client, the seller, has requested.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Like, who's going to argue with that? Oh, well, I'd actually like to work with an unethical realtor that's going to ignore the wishes of their client. No one's going to say that to you.
Right.
Okay, you've done a great job here. Now, you got to take it out to the street.
Uh-huh.
All you got to do is remember what we've talked about here today. And I hope this was helpful to everybody else listening, because I know that sometimes you folks do have trouble when it's an ad call, when they're calling on one particular listing, or it's a sign call. And I want to help you with that, because we all agree with Eve. We see the wisdom in meeting with them, and we all know, we can all agree as to what's going to happen if we fail to get the meeting. We're just wasting our time showing a one-off listing to a buyer that probably will never show another property to, or maybe even worse, we'll show that buyer several more properties, but eventually they leave us behind.
Right.
Eve, excellent work today.
Thank you very much, Craig and James.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good stuff. Let's see who's next.
We have John Brackett with his hand raised. Your mic is now open.
Good morning, John.
John, we can't hear you. If you're talking, go ahead and type in the chat box and we can come back to you.
Mr. John Brackett from the lovely Carlsbad, California.
We're going to move on to Austin Goodale. Your telephone line is now open.
This is Austin from Arizona. Good morning, Austin.
Good morning, Craig. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are things going with you?
We are making progress, very much so, and we are excited.
So what's on your mind?
I'd like to do a role play, responding to a bold lead seller.
Okay, so I'm going to be the seller, and you're calling me back. Ring, ring.
Good morning. Is Craig there, please?
Speaking.
Craig, my name is Austin Goodale, JK Realty. The reason I'm calling is I received your request for information on the home on Thornton Street. I was going to send that out to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, I didn't know that this was coming from a real estate agent.
Yes, it is. Were you planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Maybe.
If you were to move, would you be staying in the area or moving out of the area?
Staying in the area.
Okay, and any idea when that might be?
We're not sure.
All right. Do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
No.
Okay. Would you be wanting to buy before listing your home, or do you want to sell first?
I guess we'd have to do it at the same time.
Okay. Well, would it be? Would you like me to email you?
Okay, let's stop there for a second.
Okay.
We know it's impossible for the prospect to do it at the same time, and I know that that's what you folks hear once in a while. When you ask them if they want to buy first or sell first, they either say they don't know, or gee, Austin, what do you think would be better? Or they say, well, I guess I'd have to do it at the same time. What that really means is they don't understand the question. So how could you get me to understand that question when you ask me whether I'm a buy first guy or a sell first guy?
Would you prefer to look around and find your next home before putting your present home up for sale?
Right. Or would you rather have the for sale sign on your front lawn before you run around and get excited about other properties? So now a prospect would understand it. So they always do have a preference. If they understand the question that you're asking, they'll actually tell you how to sell them. If they say things, if they don't answer the question, it just simply means like they don't understand the question you're asking. So when they say, well, I don't know what I would do, or I guess I'd have to do both at the same time, it just means you've got to ask the question again, but in more detail so they really understand what it is you're asking them.
Okay, I frequently get people that are very indefinite and very iffy, and that throws me because it makes it difficult for me to...
Yeah, you don't know what offer to make.
Yeah.
Right, that's the problem. And what happens is you guess. Right. When you don't know what offer to make, you don't know whether they're a buy first client or a sell first client, then you end up guessing, and quite often we guess incorrectly. So if James is the prospect and he's really a sell first guy, but I don't know that, I might guess that he's a buy first guy, and I spend all my energy on the phone call trying to talk about houses and lists of houses and when can we meet, and I can get you excited about a house, and I may make a wonderful offer to James, but the problem is that offer falls on deaf ears. Yeah. Had I just made the offer all about the seller side of things, then James might have said yes. So I hang up the phone and I may conclude, well, I guess James isn't a very motivated prospect. Right, he is, but I made a great offer, just the wrong offer.
Craig, once in a while as well, you'll get a prospect like you kind of demonstrated there, where it's like pulling teeth to get any information. Everything is like a one-word answer, and really, when you talk about your guessing as to what offer to make, you really have very little to work with there because you really didn't give anything. Once in a while, in that circumstance, we can ask some additional questions that might be really helpful. Like to say, hey, Craig, have you started looking around at properties at all? I know that's not in the script, but there are occasions where we just have to ask some additional questions to figure out where this prospect is. Otherwise, you're making an offer, but you have no idea whether there's motivation there or not. But if they said, yeah, we've started looking around at properties, at least then it would give you some insight as to, okay, well, if they're already looking around at properties, then I can make them the buyer offer.
Well, that's why I ask the timing question twice. If you take a look at, yes, if you take a look on the seller side, for example, question one, are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months? Then we throw a bit of a change-up ball here, a little curve ball with question two. If you were to move, would you be staying in the area or moving out of the area? But in question three, we go right back to timing, and when do you think that might be? So if you were to make a move, James, when do you think that might be? Another question you could throw in is, Austin, if the perfect home came on the market, I mean, it was perfect for you, are you and your wife in a position to act on it?
Okay.
Right. These are all these questions would give us some clues as to how motivated this person is. But let's say that you feel I'm pretty motivated. So and I tried purposely to give you some really short one-word answers. But I say, well, we're going to stay local, and I guess if we're going to do something, it would probably be either in January or February.
All right, Craig. Do you have to help you when the time is right?
My wife works with a lady. Her husband's a realtor, and he's been emailing us homes.
Are you committed to working with that realtor? Are you open to seeing what other realtors?
I've never even met the guy before, but I'm just just to answer your question, he's been sending us emails. I don't know how this works, but he has sent us emails. We haven't looked at any properties. I've never met the guy before.
All right. And would you prefer to buy before listing your home, or do you want to sell first?
I think I would like to, get convinced this is a good idea by looking around at some places before I get too excited and stick a for sale sign in my front yard.
All right, that's fair. Would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all of the real estate companies? Our list includes bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and other distress sales. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that be of interest to you?
Well, that's what the guy is sending me. I think he's sending me these emails with all the houses. So I think I'm good.
Well, Craig, I don't know what other realtors might be sending you, but I would hate for you to miss out on a property that might exactly match your home buying criteria. When can we get together for about 20 minutes?
Hang on, stop. You haven't told me what's different about your list. You've said it'd be a shame for me to miss out on other properties, but you haven't done a very good job of differentiating your list. So you've got to repeat what your list has. You're not saying the other agent's list doesn't have it, but you want to say something like this. You want to say, I would say, hey, Austin, I understand you're getting emails from the other agent, but my list was going to include bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, distress sales, fixer-uppers, pre-MLS listings. These are homes that aren't even on the market yet. New construction, and homes that have recently come off the market. It's a free service, and you're never obligated to do anything. Now, here's the key. Would you like to get this information as well? I'm not saying instead of. I'm not saying call the other agent up and cancel those emails. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, would you like to get all of that stuff as well? You don't even need to talk about the biggest fear the buyer has, because the buyer already knows that fear. Right? All buyers have a fear of, hey, I might not be getting all the listings. By saying that just that way, it gives that buyer pause. Now the buyer's thinking, hell, I don't know. I don't know. This is just some guy whose wife works with my wife. I've never met the guy before, and I don't know. I'm getting some emails, but I don't know. Austin says his list has got bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, fixer-uppers, pre-MLS, homes that have recently expired, and it's free of charge, and I can get his list as well. Does anyone on our webinar here today see a downside to the prospect here? No downside, right? So if you articulate this the right way, the prospect says, yeah, okay, sure, I'll take your list as well. Now that they've opted in, you've got the prospect backed into a corner. Now you can come back with your offer, or with the commitment rather.
Okay.
So I say, yeah, I want that. I want your list. Now what?
Craig, when could we get together for about 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're looking for? Do days or evenings work better for you?
Well, look, I'm really busy at work these days, Austin. So I'm looking in the northeast part of town. I want between this price range and that price range, double car garage, and I don't want anything older than 10 years. So if you could just send me all of those, please.
Well, Craig, that sounds great. You know exactly what you're looking for. I'd like to have that same level of understanding as you do. If we could get together for about 20 minutes, I could ask you some questions and I could find out exactly so that we will make sure that we find a home that exactly meets your criteria. And this service that I'm offering is excellent for people that are busy like you because it's going to be very efficient. It's going to focus your time. You're going to see only the properties that exactly match your criteria. Would evenings be better for you?
Okay. Now, the only thing you didn't, okay, that was really good, by the way. I really liked the part where you said, hey, Craig, I appreciate that you know exactly what you're looking for, but I want to have that same great understanding that you have. That's exactly the way that I would say it. The other thing you might want to throw in there is you know, in this way, we're not going to be emailing you, you know, hundreds of homes or dozens of homes that, you know, don't match exactly what you're looking for. I liked when you said we're going to only send you the homes that are a perfect match, but you should show that contrast. You know, rather than emailing you dozens of homes that don't even match what you're looking for, or even worse, missing out on the perfect one, you're only going to get the homes that are a perfect match. And that way, you're a busy guy, you said, right? You can look at the emails at your convenience, drive by the properties that look of interest, and all we ask in return is when you see one you'd like to look at, that you give us a call. Does that sound fair? That's how easy it is.
Okay.
But you're very good. You got, I mean, you've got it down there. So there's a few things I would say differently. I'm always pretty nitpicky. James is even nitpickier than I am, by the way. Very
That's not true.
Guy. Yeah, he's a nitpicky guy.
Not at all.
You don't think so?
No.
Are you calling me anal? Maybe a little bit.
Among other things.
Okay, Austin, that was a great example. So let's go back to Andrea. Who's next?
Okay, our next guest is Durbindra. Your mic is now open.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hi, James.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Durban.
Dharmendra, yes.
Okay, so
How are
you want
you?
me to call you?
What are we going to do today?
I'm going to call you Dharm. Is that okay?
That's okay, yes.
Yeah, we'll shorten it up. Dharm. Okay,
Okay.
Dharm. So what kind of role play do you want to do?
I want to, you mean you're a seller responding my 30-day guaranteed offer?
What's the guarantee? Guaranteed or what?
It's like your home sold in 30 days or I will pay you $1,000.
You pay me $1,000 because we have different 30-day guarantees. You know, you'll sell it for free, you'll buy it. Okay, so I'm responding to an ad that you're running saying, I'll sell your home guaranteed in 30 days or less, or I'll pay you $1,000, which is a reduction of the commission on closing. So I'm calling you up and I'm saying, hey, may I speak to Dharm? Hi, Dharm. This is Craig Proctor. I'm calling about this thing I see advertised where you'll sell my home in 30 days or pay me $1,000. How does that work?
Yeah. So, Craig, well, nice. Thanks for calling me. And are you folks planning to move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yes, we are.
Great. And if you were to move, Craig, would you be staying in the same area or you're moving out of the neighborhood?
No, we want it. We really like this area. We just need something bigger.
Okay. And when do you think, Craig, that might be?
Well, I guess as soon as we find something. My wife's been looking around on the internet, but we haven't looked at any properties yet.
Okay. And do you have any realtor to help you at present?
She's talked to a couple of real estate agents about houses she's seen on the internet.
Okay. So, Craig, would you prefer to buy before you... Sorry.
Yeah, we haven't looked at any houses yet.
Oh, okay. And so, Craig, would you prefer to buy before selling your house, or do you want to sell first?
I think I would want to find something first.
Okay. Very good. And so, Craig, would you like to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all the real estate companies? By the way,
that's great. Yeah, I would like all the listings.
Okay. And Craig, when can we get together for about 15 to 20 minutes so I can note down exactly what you are looking for? And
well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you send us the listings, and when we see houses we like, then we can call you.
Well, I can understand, Craig. I like that when we meet there, I can exactly understand what you are looking for so that I can email you those that are meeting your criteria. And
yeah, well, I know exactly what you're looking for. So if you send me everything in the northeast part of town, four-bedroom, under 10 years of age,
right.
you send them all to me, and then when I see ones I like, I'll call you, okay?
Craig, I can understand that. I don't want to send you emails that have hundreds of homes. That none of them meet your criteria, or maybe sometimes miss out with the one that is meeting your need. So when I meet with you, Craig, I can exactly understand what you like, and based on that, I will email you those properties that meet your criteria. And our list includes bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, some of the distressed sales, and
hey, can you pick up the phone? Are you on hands-free?
Yes, I'm connected with the computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
getting harder and harder to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to switch. I have to start with the phone. Then maybe it will.
You know what? Don't worry about it. If it's a big hassle, I thought you could just pick up the phone. I thought you were on hands-free.
No, I'm with the computer right now.
Oh,
Can you hear me now better?
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so
you've got to simplify. You need to simplify your response here, and you've got to fight it with logic. And the key is that you want to do a good job for them. And rather than send them hundreds of properties that may or may not match what they're looking for, or worse, missing out on the perfect property, if we can sit down together for 15 minutes, you can have the same great understanding they have as to what they're looking for, so you can do a great job for them. Would you consider a brief 15-minute appointment at your convenience, days, evenings, weekends? What would be best?
Okay.
Logic. We have to fight with logic, because if they don't understand, to them, it makes perfect sense. Yes, I can just tell you, just send me everything. So we know that sending them everything is not an option. We know that that will not be helpful for them. So we've got to tell them, look, I really want to do a good job for you. So rather than send you hundreds of properties that are of no interest to you, which might cause us to miss the perfect property, if we sit down together for 50 minutes, we can do a great job, know exactly what you're looking for like you do, and only send you the right properties. Are you certain you wouldn't reconsider a brief 15-minute appointment? There's no cost, no obligation, and I'm flexible. What's good for you, days, evenings, weekends? Here's what you can't say. You can't say, yeah, I agree with you. That would be a good way of doing it. But don't agree with them. Don't suggest that, yes, yeah, that would be one way we could do it. It isn't one way you can do it. There's only one way you can do this if you're going to do this properly and do a good job, and that is you need to have the same understanding they have. That requires you meeting. But Craig, I don't know if you noticed that, but the tendency is to agree with the prospect's objection.
Yeah, when you agree with them, it's just going to make it harder to to get them to do what you want to do. And it's a bad habit we have. We hear telemarketers say that all the time. Yeah, okay, yeah, right, great, fantastic, great, fantastic. You could say to something negative to a telemarketer, and they'll still respond with great, fantastic. Okay, so look, where are we on this, Dharm? Any other problems you're having?
Well, I mean, we were at that meeting point.
Okay, so you want me to come in, and I'm saying just send me the list, and James said simplify it.
Okay.
Like one of two things are going to happen here with the buyer, right? Either the buyer is going to be convinced that's a good idea to meet with you, or they're not going to be convinced, and you're going to have to decide whether you want to run out and show them the house, or whether you want to, hold firm and, draw a line in the sand and say, well, look, that's my rules of engagement. If they won't come in and meet with me, I'm not going to run out and show them homes. Now, the key will be when you get enough buyers that are willing to come in and do it your way, you won't be interested in the one or two buyers that won't be that will not do it your way. You'll let them go by the wayside.
Okay.
Okay, so let's practice this offer. I would recommend that you record all your calls, okay. And let's practice this offer. But I think the point James was making is it can't be long and drawn out. You need to make your point in a more concise fashion.
Okay.
Right, and the point is I want to do a good job for you. I want to have that same great understanding that you have. So that way I'm not emailing you dozens of homes that don't match your criteria or missing out on the perfect one. It only takes a few minutes. I've got an online form I fill out while I'm there. You're going to leave with a bunch of houses that we can print out when we get together.
Okay.
Okay, it's a free service, and you're never obligated to buy anything. Now, I'm going to give you a hint here. The more they fight you, the more they're telling you in advance that they were never, ever going to be loyal to you in the first place. Because everything you're suggesting makes sense, right? Why would a buyer not want to take advantage of your free service to sit down and have a free consultation with a professional like you and get a list of all the homes that perfectly match their criteria, including hard-to-find good deals like fixer-uppers, bank foreclosures, and distress sales, emailed to them every single day, free of service, free of charge, no obligation? Why would any reasonable person? Because they fear being obligated. They don't want to be obligated. Well, we don't want to spend our time with buyers that aren't going to commit to us. All right, I hope that was helpful.
Yes, it was.
Okay, I'm going to move on to some of the questions that we have now in the chat, and we'll take some more of those, then we'll do some more role-playing. Larry, for example, Larry Levin has a question here. Says, I have a question about something about offer follow-up between time the ISA sets the appointment and the OSA confirms. Well, you want the appointments made as close to when the appointment is booked as possible, because time's not your friend. The more time that elapses between when the appointment is made and when the appointment happens, only bad things can happen. Michelle London says, if someone gives you a fake phone number and you can look it up, you can look up the correct number, should you call the correct number? Absolutely, you should call the correct number. And sometimes they'll say, how did you get this phone number? I'll say, well, Michelle, I tried the number you gave me, and it was the wrong number, so I looked you up in the phone book. Because I want to let you know that I did receive your request, and I've sent the information out, and by the way, and you get right into the script. Absolutely, I made a lot of money looking up phone numbers. You see, most real estate agents are too lazy to do that, right? So I go the extra mile. Today we can do it online. You don't have to use a phone book. You can go to 411.com. You've got their name and their phone number, and boom, you've got their home phone number for the few people that still have home phone numbers. Okay, Emil says, can you review the script for the sign call? Well, I think we've beat that up pretty good today, Emil. Kenny Cheeseman, Kenny says, the form referenced, what's he say here? That would let me find out exactly what properties you would like is where. I realize we have many fields to specify in our MLS, but I guess I would have to make my own form. Is that correct? Look, it's just the fields on your MLS.
Yep.
You know, if James was the buyer, Kenny, and he was talking to you, he says, now look, Kenny, this is James McDonald. I only want to look at homes that were built on a Tuesday. Well, you couldn't do that, right? Because there's no field on MLS for homes just built on a Tuesday.
Plus, it takes more than one day to build a home, I know.
Well, that's a good point, too. They can build a car, though. But you know what? It probably takes more than a day to build a car, too. You know, they say never buy a car that was built on a Monday or Friday. Michelle London has typed in, that's brilliant. I'm not sure what she was referring to, but I guess we said something brilliant here today. John Brackett says his mic is working. Bridget Ford, regarding the first caller showing a house to a client calling in, what if the client says they will just call another real estate agent to show the home? Any agent can show the property. Why wouldn't you just show it and meet there and talk to them about what they're looking for? Well, you can do that, Bridget.
Try it. How's that working for you?
Right. And this is what I would do. I'd be all mad at myself, and then the next day I would get a sign call, and I didn't know how to get the buyer to meet with me, and I didn't know how to get the buyer to sign a buyer contract. So I would run out and I would show the property, and they wouldn't buy it. And then I would do it the next day. I'd run out and I'd show a buyer a property, and they wouldn't buy it.
But it's not just that they wouldn't buy it. It's that two things are going to happen. Number one, you've demonstrated that you're willing to run out without any kind of commitment at all and show them whatever they want. And number two, does it lead to anything after that?
Well, it leads to something that's worse. Let me tell you what it leads to. So, James, you're my buyer, and you called me a half an hour ago. And boom, I drop whatever I'm doing. Could be family time, could be making my phone calls to other buyers and sellers, something more productive. But you call, and because I don't know how to handle this, I find myself running out and showing you the property. And sure enough, we spend a half an hour in the home, and we're out in the driveway, and now you're proceeding to tell me what's wrong with the house and why you're not going to buy it. I would make matters worse. I'd say, hey, no problem. I would apologize, James. I'm very sorry you didn't buy the house that I knew you weren't going to buy. I'd be apologizing. But I'll tell you what I'll do for you, James. Why don't I email you all the homes that match your criteria? Like, we're in the driveway, right? There's no buyer contract. I don't have a buyer contract on the hood of my car. So I'll just email you all the properties, and then when you see other ones you like, we can do this all over again. You can call me every day. Or not. You don't have to call me. You could call other agents. But if you want to call me, you can. You see, that's how agents operate. It's because they don't know how to get what they want. They do business based on the way the buyer wants to do the business. And of course that's what the buyer wants. Here's what the buyer wants. They're in front of the house, and they want you to come over and look at it now. They want to look at it now, no strings attached. And they want to be able to call you whenever they feel like and continue doing this. And you're right, James. If we demonstrate our willingness to do that, nothing will change. They're quite happy with this arrangement. The question is, are you? Right. Ellen Levy has a great point here. Suggestion. Female agents can say their company policy is to meet with prospects initially at the office. We never meet an unknown prospect at a home without prior acquaintance. So this is a safety issue. Yeah, you could bring up that safety issue. That the seller requests that we meet prospective buyers to give them all the information about the property. And plus our office policy for safety reasons is we need to have you come and meet at the office first. I think most buyers would understand that, right? It's like, okay, yeah, we've heard a lot of stuff in the news. That makes sense. I mean, what if the buyer sounded kind of creepy and said, well, no, I'd like you just to, how about we'll meet, but over at my house? Or how about, yeah, like kind of creepy. I'm trying to sound creepy here. So
no problem. Yeah, you got that down.
I got that down, right? I got that down. Okay. Jose, next question here. Did I miss something? I thought Craig was calling about the 30-day guarantee and wanted to know more about the offer. Well, yeah, we went right into the script. I mean, that's okay. Sometimes they won't let you do that, right? Sometimes the prospect will be like, well, look, I just want to know how this thing works. Okay, so let's do that role play with James. Hey, James, it's Craig here. Look, I'm calling about this thing I see you've got advertised all over town. You guarantee to sell my home, or you'll pay me $1,000 cash. Like, how does that thing work?
Oh, it works really well. Are you thinking about making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, I am. But how does it work? How do you establish the price? How do I know?
Well, I can't establish the price without taking a look at your property. When can I come and take a look so I can let you know what the value of the property is? What would be better for you?
How do you fight that? How do you fight that? Because they're going to ask you questions. Well, how does it work? Or, well, what price would you guarantee my home would sell for? Well,
let me take a look at it. When are you available?
All leads into that, right? It all leads into, I got to look at your house before I can tell you what we guarantee the home for. Makes sense. Okay, Jenna Ellen, could you not also entice them into coming in by saying that you would also discuss the original offer of the 30 days or money back? Okay, I'm not sure what that means. James, do you get that?
In other words, by using a guarantee, but the problem is what it's insinuating is that they're ready to buy immediately. And all we want to do to compel the buyer to come in and meet with us, it's not because we want them to buy something right now, and we don't want them to scare them away by thinking that. The reason that they need to come in is because we're going to help them find what they're looking for. And what we're offering is much better than what it is they're doing right now. So the reason to meet isn't because we're going to give them a 30-day guarantee or save them $5,000. Save that for the presentation. The reason they're going to come in and meet with you is because you have access to proprietary and priority information. That's the reason for meeting with you. It'll make finding what they're looking for better and easier, and that is compelling in tandem with the fact that it's absolutely free and there's no obligation. So we don't need to offer performance guarantees to entice them to meet with us. All that would do is it would give them the impression that we think they're going to buy something today, and that might scare them from the appointment.
Okay, Andrew is asking, how do I access previous webinars? Andrea will show everybody again how to do that. But we have an archive of all of our previous webinars for everything, every webinar, whether it be Helpline, Role Play, or Ad Clinic. And while Andrea is doing that, we're going to skip down to Karen Dorn's question, and then Larry Levin, we're going to get you live here if you've got a microphone. Larry says, can I follow up in person? So Larry, I don't know, did you want to get connected so you can talk to us? Let's go to Karen's point here. Karen says, well, MLS, the criteria on my MLS, okay, so these mandatory fields on MLS may not include their exact unique criteria. What then? What do we do then, James, if the fields on my MLS don't specifically address their concerns? So I'm looking for the house built on Tuesday.
Well, I guess, first of all, you're going to include everything, all right? So in other words, you'd rather be a little bit more broad than be too narrow. It would be better to have a more open search than it would be to have too narrow a search.
Okay, well,
if the search is too narrow, you're going to miss out on what otherwise would be the perfect property.
Right, but I think what Karen's saying is, what do I say to the prospect? Here's what I would say. I would say, Karen, okay, remember, Karen, you're in front of me now at my office. Okay, and I get you signed to the buyer agency agreement. Okay, so now you're mine, and I say, now I know you, Karen, you only want houses that are built on Tuesday. Now, if we go through all of our fields here, and by the way, they don't even know it's MLS. They don't know any agent can do this, but they can, but they don't know that. You'll say, well, Karen, I'll say, well, Karen, I noticed that there is no field for homes built on Tuesday, we're going to send you all the homes that were built all 7 days of the week. Is that okay?
That's probably somewhat of an unrealistic one, but yes.
It's a weak example, James. I get it. It was a very bad example, but it's all I could come up with. Could you come up with another?
Well, what about if it was I only want properties that have a south exposure backyard?
I think some MLSs let you do that.
Right, I'm sure.
Yep.
But some properties might not indicate that, even though they have southern exposure. So by putting that in, you might miss out on a property that in fact does have what you're looking for, but you missed it because you were too specific in the criteria. But of course, once you're face to face, you have an opportunity to explain that. The time to talk about this is not over the phone, that's for sure.
Okay, I think we got Larry all wired up to go here. So let's go over to Larry, see what's on his mind.
Hi, Craig.
Larry, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, what's on your mind?
Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
So, great, so thanks. So we have an ISA and two OSAs, and one of the challenges we have is the ISA gets the appointment booked and then hands off the appointment to the OSA, and the OSA then sometimes struggles with getting the appointment kept or having to reschedule, or in some cases not even showing up. And we're working on keeping the appointment close to the original, within a 48-hour time frame. But my question was about, when the OSA goes to make the follow-up call and the confirmation call, Are they redoing the entire script? Are they redoing the offers in the script? What exactly?
Okay, why is the OSA, by the way, for you newbies, is outside sales agent. ISA is inside sales agent. I'm sure most of you figured that out. But why, after the inside sales agent makes the appointment, why does the OSA feel compelled to call them again to confirm it?
Especially if the appointment is within 48 hours.
Yeah,
like
I'm just saying, I never did it that way.
Okay. Well, I'd love to hear how you did it. We just,
well, the inside sales agent would make an appointment. It would be within 48 hours, and in most cases, the appointment would show up. And if the appointment didn't show up, it had everything to do with what the inside sales agent was either saying or not saying on the phone.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We just took the approach that the OSA should call to confirm, just to make sure that their time is.
I don't think that's a good idea, because that gives now the prospect an out. That gives them a way to sort of get out of this. So if I don't know, imagine, Larry, if you're the prospect and I'm your outside sales agent, I'm saying, hey Larry, it's Craig. I know Susan in our office talked to you yesterday, and I just want to confirm our appointment this evening at 7 o'clock at my office. Doesn't that give you an opportunity to say, hey man, something came up, my dog threw up on the carpet, I don't think I can make it tonight.
Yeah, right. I get it. So what if the appointment?
I think you're redoing work that doesn't need to be done.
Okay. What about in a situation where the appointment can't be within 48 hours?
Well, then you might have an argument for doing that. If it was over, say, 72 hours, then you might want to reconfirm that. But I always had my ISAs do that, since they're the one that made the appointment in the first place.
Okay. And wouldn't the ISA know more about this prospect situation than the OSA that's never had a conversation with them? Potentially, and we try to keep it as good.
Well, I would say more than potentially. I'd say 100% of the time. Remember, your ISA may have been following up with this buyer prospect for months and months and months and months and months, and they finally booked an appointment. But we're saying if it's 4 or 5 days away, then the outside sales agent who doesn't have a relationship with the prospect, doesn't know the prospect situation, all of a sudden is calling out of the blue, saying, hey Larry, hey man, I really don't know you, but Susan, our office, I understand, has been following up with you, and we've got this appointment or something, next week and or tomorrow, and I don't know too much about it, but are we still on?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm exaggerating, right? But you get the point.
Yeah, the ISA will create this, an introduction for the OSA to say, hi, so Mr. Prospect, Daniel from our team that you're going to be meeting with will be giving you a call to follow up and confirm prior to the appointment. Is that okay? So we try to introduce the presence and the participation of the OSA in that call.
Here's, I think, if we step back and we look at this from the 1,000-foot level, we don't want to do extra work if it's not necessary. So if your inside sales agent is doing a pretty good job of setting appointments that stick, why mess with that? Why even have the outside sales agent call? Now, if your inside sales agent is making a whole bunch of appointments that don't stick, then it causes you to go in and tear it apart and rethink this.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And by the way, here's what you also want to look at. When you book the appointments, do they actually happen? In other words, if you've got 2 people doing it, and one of them, the appointments show up, and the other one, the appointments don't show up, well, then you know that there's something that's either being said or not being said that needs to be.
Well, yeah, there's more success with sell.
Right.
Okay, Craig.
With a seller, you're booking the appointment at their home primarily, and these no-shows tend to be when they're coming into the office. Is that correct? Hello?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
The sellers typically stick to the appointment.
I'll make a suggestion. A suggestion to test. This is a test. When you booking a buyer to come into the office for the appointment, the reason that they wouldn't show up is because of one of 2 things: either fear of cost and obligation, or 2, because they forget the benefit of why they're even meeting with you at all. Now, it's 48 hours later. Why am I meeting with this realtor again? Why am I doing this? So it's one of those two things. So here's what you want to test. Once the appointment is set for that buyer, you want to reiterate to them, remember, this is an absolutely free appointment. Don't bring your wallet or checkbook. All I want you to consider between now and the appointment are all of the important features of the property that you're looking for so that we can do a great quick job for you when we see you on Tuesday evening. In other words, make sure they understand this is all we're doing. Don't be afraid of the cost. Just focus on what is important to you and your partner in a property that you're looking for. That's all I want you to consider, so that when we sit down together on Tuesday evening, we can get right to it, and I know exactly what it is you're looking for. We can get you the properties right away. If their mindset is focused on the benefit, the WIFM, it's far more likely that they're going to keep the appointment.
Okay, great. That sounds great.
But do that after you've booked the appointment. All right, so we've gone through the script. We've made the offer. We booked the appointment. It's going to be Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. They know where your office is. Then you can reiterate to them again. Okay, just before I let you go, remember, this is absolutely free. Don't bring your wallet or checkbook. Don't worry about that. And all I want you to consider between now and then, all of the details, all the elements in a property that are really important to you, so we could do a really quick, great job for you in getting you the great properties that you're looking for. We'll see you on Tuesday night.
Yeah, great.
Now try that. Try that, and let's see if that makes a difference in them showing up.
Okay, will do. Will do.
All right, folks, I think we're running out of time here today. Craig Bush did suggest that if his OSAs don't call, that sometimes people aren't showing up. I think it comes back, Craig Bush, to what your inside sales agents are saying. I'm just saying I train my inside sales agents to create appointments that stuck. There was no need for the outside sales agents to call. In fact, when my OSAs called, it actually made things worse. Why would we want to interfere with an appointment that's already made if those appointments are sticking?
My problem in booking these appointments was that I could book appointments for those I shouldn't have booked appointments with. In other words, people are showing up for appointments that were in no danger of buying anything for a long time.
Yeah, James was so good at this, he was booking appointments even in situations where he shouldn't have.
And I know that there are a lot of you that have experienced that as well. Now, here's where that tends to happen. When you're booking the appointments for yourself, you tend not to do that because you know it's your time that is going to be spent with somebody that may be, a year or two down the road. Whereas
so what are you saying, James, that you had no trouble wasting my time?
Well, what it is you become solely focused with blinders.
Right.
My job is
you
to
get
book
paid
appointments.
to book appointments, right?
To book appointments. Right. I will book. The gardener just walked by. I'm booking an appointment with that guy. Right. Yes. When you figure out that you can, you do, and then you got to reel it back a little bit and go, well, wait a minute. The objective isn't to book appointments.
Your inside sales agents do get reeled back by you. So I would say to James,
right.
Don't just book an appointment because you can.
Right.
Only book an appointment because you should.
Right. The objective is to book an appointment with a worthy prospect, not to book an appointment.
Okay, Rachel's asking this. When are we going to be having a webinar solely on the listing presentation? So that is coming up over the next few weeks. We're going to do that, Rachel, for the buyer presentation and the listing presentation, an entire coaching call where I basically do in detail what I did at the Super Conference. I go through all the slides in the VIP buyer presentation. I go through all the slides in the ultimate listing presentation, slide by slide by slide, and show you what we say, the order we say it, why we say it that way, and we will do that over the next few weeks. I mean, we're going to go through every aspect of this in immense detail. So patience, and I want to thank everybody for being with us here today. James and Andrea, you guys did a great job as always. And I want to remind you, clinic tomorrow, and Andrea is going to show everybody how to upload their ads. We want to have as many as possible tomorrow. Please give us the results of those ads. Ideally, what we're looking for is show us the ad. If you've already run the ad, then let us know what it cost you, where you ran it, and what the response was. And if you have campaigns that are already working really well, don't be shy about uploading successful campaigns. You know, maybe James and I can help you become even more successful with that campaign. Maybe we can plus it. Plus, you know, all of our members want to see examples of successful campaigns. So you've all got the ability to do that. Andrea, maybe you can just show everybody one more time before we wrap this up.
Yes. Just looking at your screen, all you have to do is go to Resources, Add Clinic, then select Files. We do not accept PDF files, and I know a lot of you, that's all you have. You can email those to me directly, and I will show them, Andrea@craigproctor.com.
Great. Okay, everyone. That concludes today's webinar. Go sell some houses. We'll talk to you all tomorrow morning. Take care. That's the end of this webinar.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful afternoon, and talk to you all tomorrow.